Today on Woodturning, we're not going to make a one-lidded, we're not going to make a two-lidded, we're going to make a three-lidded box out of this beautiful piece of box elder.
Tim's American Beauty was made by Robust Tools, America's premier lathe manufacturer. Robust. Built to turn wood. Enjoyed for a lifetime.
Easy Wood Tools makes carbide tip turning tools, the Easy Chuck, beading cutters, live and drive centers, faceplates, and wire burning kits. Easy Wood Tools, easy to use, easy to own. So a three-lidded box, where did we come up with that stupid idea, right? Well, my buddy Carl Jacobson now has the company Niles Bottle Stoppers, and he sent me some really cool brass rings that you use for making boxes and urns, but today we're going to make boxes. They're about 3/8 of an inch thick, and the cool thing is, if I can do this here, is they're threaded. See, they're two pieces here. So this part goes on the bottom part of the box, well, the lower part of the box, and this goes on the lid part of the box, and it screws together. And since he sent me three, well, heck, why not? Let's just stack these together and make a three-lidded box. Be kind of nice and fun. And what we're going to make the box out of is this beautiful box elder. You can see the pink flame in it. That is super cool. What's really special about this is this piece of wood was 56 ounces when I first got it, and that was 530 of 02. So this is 24 years old, and it was 56 ounces then. Now, to know if a box is dry enough and stable enough to make a box out of, because you need really dry wood for a box, you don't want anything to move, you need to weigh this. And once it stops losing weight, then you know it's completely dry. And that's 3 pounds, 2.6 ounces. So 3 times 16 is 18. That's 48. Am I right, Brian? 48 ounces plus 2. So 50 ounces. So it stopped losing weight. It lost 6 ounces of water out of this block by itself. So that's pretty cool. So anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to take this to the bandsaw and cut it up into 3 sections to start making the box. Now, before we get started, I want to thank our sponsors, Robust Lathes and Easy Wood Tools, because without them, we wouldn't be here. And again, that would be absolutely no fun. And if you're looking to buy a lathe, I am an authorized Robust dealer. Adds nothing to your cost, and you could wind up with a really cool toy. Oh, speaking of toys, if you go to woodturningwithtim.com, I sell rulers, gauges, and also a really cool hollowing system if you're looking for that. Boys got to eat, you know. So anyway, we've cut the blank up on the bandsaw, and you can see we staggered the heights. Now, this is going to be the bottom, so it's going to be taller. This is going to be the middle, and even though this is equal, I've got to have a lid out of this piece here too, so this is going to be shorter also. So you can save me a little bit of work. I'm going to go ahead and make a circle on each one of these so I can go back to the bandsaw and cut out the blanks so they're round. It just makes life a lot easier. So let's see, there we go, like that. So each one I'm going to make a little bit smaller. So that is 5 inches across there. So the next one, I think at the most should probably be about 3.5 inches, which would bring us down to, well, let's be brave. Let's go 2 inches, so it's going to be a 4-inch round disc here. Now, if you want a grain match, you can, or you can try to preserve as much of the pink as you want. I'm going to try to keep as much pink in here as I can because it's so pretty. So we'll come around here like, whoops, nope, let's bring it over here a little bit more. There we go. There we go. So we want to use as much pink as possible so it'll look nice. Oh, and the thing about the pink, the second this is exposed to sunlight and stuff like that, the pink starts to fade. So that's something you'll have to live with. This one I'm going to have to guess with over here. But anyway, I'm going to go back to the bandsaw once I get this one drawn out. Then we get to go to the lathe. Oh, one other thing, I marked all of these with a T for top, so I keep them oriented correctly. Kick this puppy on and make some circles. So I have the first blank. I mounted it on my chuck with a worm screw. This is the top of the box. This is the bottom of the box. So the next step is we want to shape it out and start working on how we're going to hold it when we turn it around. So over here, as usual, I have my great Easy Wood tools, but you'll notice something different. We now have a full set of robust tools, and these are incredible. They're nitrite coated. Now we're going to get into scientific stuff, and I'm not good at that, but Brent, who makes all this stuff, knows this stuff. Anyway, the nitrite coating goes into the steel and takes it from like 64 Rockwell to 75 Rockwell, and that doesn't go away. It stays on the edge, so these are really, really sharp, but they also sharpen really, really easily because they're still regular high-speed steel. So I think it's a really nice blend of the two technologies because I love the cut that comes off of here. It feels sharper than anything I've used in a long time. I really do like them. But enough bragging about him. Let's brag about me now. We're making a nice cut. We're going to round this out. You can hear that little bit of chatter right there. That means we're still not rounded out yet. Nice shavings coming off this thing, by the way. These are fun. They're really nice to use. So let's see. They got a little tiny flat spot still. Now, when I start shaping this, I'm kind of going to make like 3 pebbles, you know, rounded pebble things. It's going to look like that. I'm kind of going off the cuff with this. But the one thing I don't want to do is I don't want to get that shape done right now because we're going to need to put a recess onto this and turn this around, and during that process we'll start refining our shape. Oh man, it's got some quilting in it too. This is some beautiful, beautiful wood. Okay, I'm going to grab a different tool and we're going to clean up the end and make a recess. Okay, so I'm using my calipers right now to get the diameter of this ring, and I think Carl actually gives you the exact measurement with the kit. But what I want to do is take that measurement there and put it over on the wood here. So we're going to turn this up, and I'm going to use the pokey parts of my caliper to make that mark. And the reason I'm doing this now is because we need to figure out, oh, nailed it pretty good. I think I'm right there. So this is matching up over here with the mark I'm making over here. So I need to start making a recess in here to try to fit this ring into. And once we have this ring fitting in there, then that tells us what shape we can make. Because it looks like it's going to be kind of like, woo, like that. But we'll see how that works out. But anyway, we'll start hollowing this out a little bit and setting that ring in there. So I'm going to start with my parting tool and just take away a little bit of wood, and this is going to be a do it a few times, keep on doing it type of. That didn't make a whole lot of sense, but what I'm going to do is keep doing this over and over and over until I get this daggum thing to fit. Feels like a Monday. So Brian and I were talking about this off camera as usual, and our ring is going to go here, so we don't have a lot of meat to work with on this. So instead of making a big bead, we're going to make a real subtle shape. But hey, design modification is what wood turning is all about. I do need to leave about 1/8 of an inch right here for the next piece to rest onto, or at least to curve into. So I'm just going to slowly make a very shallow bead here. So make this nice, good clean cut so I don't have to worry about sanding too much. Yeah, I can keep coming down a little bit more. I can accelerate the curve now a bit. And with any bead, you sneak up on it, you take it off a little bit at a time. And in this case, I really want to take my time because you cannot put wood back on in this situation. That's for real sure. I'm going to shape the bottom part roughly, but I'm going to show you a technique for turning it around and finishing that up in a minute. The nice thing about this is once you kind of get this figured out, you do the same thing to the other two parts. That's looking pretty good. Okay, I'll whittle away on this a second and then we're going to hollow it out. Now I'm using a bowl gouge to remove a lot of wood really quickly, but there's going to be a point where I want to hollow this, and obviously the first step to hollowing is drill a big hole in the middle of the thing, and that gets rid of a lot of the wood, which I've already done. And I got to leave enough of a lip here that the insert, the ring, sits on there and looks flush with the wood. I don't want it kind of sticking out or anything like that. Okay, so that's as much as I really want to do with the bowl gouge. I want to have a little fun with this. This is made by Mike Hunter. He makes three tool set. One's straight, one's curved, and one's really, really curved. Got a little tiny carbide in there. Ow, really sharp too. And let me raise this back up. I've got to be on center for this. Show my shiny head to all of you. And anyway, the carbide is really aggressive, really quick, and it will move wood really fast. But this is an easy way to get inside here and hollow this out and leave some nice thin walls, because I want to curve it on the inside to match the outside a bit. So anyway, kind of like watching paint dry. The other thing is, with a tool like this, you really don't want to overhang much more than 2 to 3 inches, because it gets kind of sketchy. It starts to pull it down. That's why I make my hollowing system, because the further out you get over a tool rest, the more the lathe wants to win. It's got a lot of pressure, a lot of force in there. And so the hollowing system, the elbow 2, resists all that pressure for you, and you don't have to sweat it out. You can see it starts pulling me down there a little bit. I'm getting to the maximum overhang I want, so I'll just move it in a bit. But anyway, I'm going to hollow this out. I've already sanded the outside. I'll sand the inside, and then we're going to turn around and work on the bottom. So we've got the shape we want, pretty much. I kind of like the sides, but the bottom is a little bit boogered up. This box elder is really kind of punky, so it tears really easily. So how am I going to fix that? Well, this is a new toy day show, basically. Dan with Jam Chuck sent me this, and this little disc will hook up into your jaws, or it has threads on it so you can screw it onto your spindle. Even comes a little bitty one like this, and well, what is this little bitty one? Well, these are jam chucks. So normally you'll save a piece of wood, you'll turn it to the right size so you can take something like this and jam it on here, bring a tailstock up so you can work on the bottom. But Dan has built a system that's 3D printed. So you can get any size here up to about 10 inches, it looks like, that you can put on here. So this will settle into here, if I can do this right. There you go. So that settles in there. So you can put a big bowl on here, bring the tailstock up and hold it. You got a smaller bowl, smaller, smaller. This is the one we're going to be working with here. Whoops. Hey, and they don't break either when you drop them. But cool little feature on this too is he's put little markings on here, increments. So when you bring this up, it's real tough on a wood jam to get it straight. Well, with this, you line the lines up as you spin it around. It helps you get closer to where you are. So you bring your tailstock up and you're not that far off, and you just do a little bit of adjusting, and then you push in and it holds it. So I'll get this one set up and we'll finish the bottom up on this. So let's see how this looks. Ooh, that's pretty cool. That's really close. Pick the speed up a little bit. You notice I'm using a live center with a flat spot on it, so I don't want to dig into the bottom there. I can sand that by hand later, but as far as making a mark with a point, I don't want to do that. So it's a very delicate cut that you take when you clean up a bottom like this. But this is holding remarkably well. I really like it. I'm still going to leave the recess in there because, I don't know, why not? Ah, heck, I'll take the recess out. We'll let people wonder how we did this. I'm going to need the recess on the next piece. That's going to be interesting. I'll show you that in just a second. So as I like to say, don't do what I do, do what you should do, or something like that. Anyway, I've used some super glue to put the ring in here. Right now, you'd probably want to use epoxy, but we don't have time and TV time to get the epoxy to cure up, so I tacked it in with super glue. And here is my second blank, right? So these are going to butt up like this, and I'm going to try to make this shape onto here. But what I'm doing right now is this ring right here, I need to get this tenon turned so the ring fits onto here and recess it enough to where it's flush with that. And then I just simply shape this the same way I did the other one, turn it around, use the tenon to hang on to it, and hollow it out. Then rinse and repeat on the other one. So that's how you do it. We'll see how it goes for me. We'll see if I'm lucky enough to get this right the first time. Let's see what that looks like. Beauty. All right, okay. Just need to make it a little bit longer so that fits all the way on it. Rock and roll. So we have our 3 fitted pieces of our boxes here. Unscrew, 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 unscrew. There we go, like that. But we need a lid, right? Well, I had a little bit of scrap wood left over, and I've got it mounted in the chuck right now. And I'm just going to make a lid that's going to be about that tall. So the first step on this is to round it out. I'm going to put a tenon on the end just like I did everything else. Put those threads on there, reverse it, and turn the top. So that's how we're going to finish this up. Ooh, I couldn't wait. I'm going to put some Danish oil on here. Look how that pops out. 20-some-odd-year-old piece of wood sitting on the shelf. This is gorgeous. Now, I usually do prototypes for stuff. This time I didn't because I only had 3 rings. So let me run you through a couple of issues. The fit up here is really good, right? The fit here, you see a little bit of brass. So make sure that you make the hole deep enough that the threads go a little bit deeper in the wood so the wood touches and not the brass rings. Now here's our little bitty lid that we made. Put a decoration on there. I also put the same decoration on the bottom of the 2 boxes there. That way when people take the lids off, it's something cool to look at. The other thing is, when you do this, you can actually go to the trouble of setting the rings in there. If you're using epoxy, screw it on, check it, and then you would grain match it. So by being grain matched, what I'm talking about is you'd have pink here, and pink here, and that would be just downright spectacular. I might be able to deconstruct this thing a little bit later and redo the rings since I just put them in with super glue instead of epoxy, and I might be able to fix all that. But anyway, that is how you make a 3-lidded box. It's quite fun, and I think I'll do it again once I get some more rings from Carl, if he'll send them to me. Until the next time on Wood Turning, keep turning.
Tim's American Beauty was made by Robust Tools, America's premier lathe manufacturer. Robust, built to turn wood. enjoyed for a lifetime.
Easy Wood Tools makes carbide tip turning tools, the Easy Chuck, beading cutters, live and drive centers, faceplates, and wire burning kits. Easy Wood Tools, easy to use, easy to own.